A dream. The same dream he'd been having for weeks now, ever since his decision had been made. A dark nightmare, full of shadowy visions of his hometown, a town substantially the same as the one he had left many years ago. There were none of the changes that he was sure must have occurred there. There had been no progress, no development, no modernization. It was frozen in time, this hometown of his dreams. And down its streets someone moved, coming silently, creeping stealthily. It was calling to him without words, summoning him, drawing him back. A ghost of terror entered his body, midnight cold. He wouldn't go, he decided. It was simple, really, as simple as the word no. He had avoided it this long. He could avoid it a little longer. He didn't want to die. He wanted to work, keep hiding. That wouldn't be so bad. He was an expert, after all. It's what he was best at. It was an attractive idea. But he knew that it was just talk, empty thoughts. The time for hiding was over, and he had made that choice himself. There was no avoiding it now. He tried to get back to sleep, but was still sitting there, wide-eyed and trembling, when morning came. 3. He left Manhattan in his shiny new car at 8 o'clock, under a cloudless sky, in bitter January cold. It had been many years since he had done any substantial amount of driving, but he found himself enjoying the trip nevertheless. He settled into the rhythm of it, or it settled into him, and the miles rolled by smoothly, easily, the road stretching ahead, a perfect thing to hold him in empty concentration, free for the most part from doubt and worry. The snow began that afternoon, about the time he reached the Ohio line. Dialing around on the radio, he found a powerful Cleveland station where an announcer was saying, in breathless tones of excitement, that it was shaping up to be the worst blizzard the lower Great Lakes had seen in many years. He dialed again, found soothing music instead, and hunched over the wheel, wishing his vision would sharpen to compensate for the rapidly thickening curtains of white. Not long after dark he came to a roadblock, flares and barricades and bundled, shivering troopers telling him to get off the turnpike, follow the old state route 2 miles east, and stop at the motor lodge there, where the owners would be serving complimentary coffee and food, bedding travelers down in the lobby for the night. It was just as well. He had planned on exiting the turnpike anyway. Not here, but a few miles farther along. He had no intention of stopping, however. Michigan was still a long way off. There were many miles yet to go, and someone would be waiting for him when he got there. The state highway was badly drifted, the shoulders and center line lost, whatever scenery might have dressed up either side hidden in an endless blowing cloud. The lights of the motor lodge appeared briefly on his left, like a beacon along a storm-swept shore, and then vanished again immediately. He rubbed his eyes, which felt grainy and dry. The car bumped and slithered, shook and slid, grinding on. He ground on, too. When the car went off the road at 20 minutes of 10 that night, it made very little noise as it tumbled end over end down into a snow-choked gully. Even the explosion that followed seemed muffled, there for a moment, swallowed up, and gone the next. It was a long time before the rescue vehicles arrived, and by then the flames had begun to die, licking slowly, feebly around the charred hulk of the car, already finished with the body behind the wheel. "Look at that, will you?" the first policeman on the scene said to his partner. The partner, a rookie, nodded wordlessly. His stomach lurched as he stared at the diminishing flames, and he was struck by an image that came out of nowhere, without explanation, without sense. It seemed to him that the flames were suddenly moving across the snow, actually coming toward him, approaching in a way that was not menacing, but not entirely benign. He couldn't explain it then, and never talked about it later. But for that one brief moment, it seemed as if those fading, flickering tongues of fire were trying to tell him something, trying to communicate, speaking to him with a message he could not quite hear and could not hope to comprehend.